I accompanied Ethan Hayes from rags to riches, building a multi-million-dollar fortune together, when his ex-girlfriend told me, "I'll win him back from you, little by little." Seriously, was she hiding under a rock when humanity was evolving? How could she say such shameless words with a straight face? And then, oh boy, I thought human evolution had only left her behind, but turns out there was another one. 7 days before the wedding, while trying on my wedding dress, I stumbled upon Ethan Hayes' ex-girlfriend's Instagram post. Ethan was holding hands with her, fingers intertwined. The caption read, "Still in love." 3 minutes later, I saw Ethan's response, "I want to keep drowning in you." A pretty romantic way to announce their reunion, if I weren't Ethan's lawful wife. The consultant at the bridal shop noticed me staring at my phone without speaking for a long while and asked, "Chloe, is there anything you're not satisfied with?" I looked up and saw my reflection in the mirror, clad in pure white wedding gown. The dress was custom-made according to my preferred style. I had been genuinely pleased with it initially. That's why I'd taken photos intending to send them to Ethan, never expecting my careless swipe would reveal something so absurd. I forced a smile and replied, "Just some personal matters." I got up and walked to the hallway to call Ethan, but he hung up on me. Immediately, he sent a text, "In a meeting." Right, he had traveled to Los Angeles the day before yesterday, said it was a crucial project that required his personal presence. Now it seemed truly important, a multi-million-dollar bedroom project. Ethan returned my call an hour later. On the other end of the line, his voice was gentle. "Chloe, what's going on?" Just hearing his tone, I could tell he still didn't know that his affair with his ex-girlfriend had been completely exposed. Ethan and I have known each other for 7 years, from my 21st to my 28th birthday. I stayed by his side as he went from having nothing to becoming the owner of 2 companies. Not exactly a top-tier tycoon, but certainly a prominent figure in New York City. I first met Ethan when I was job hunting after graduation. He was 3 years older than me, having already worked for 3 years before starting his own business. His company was newly established and understaffed, especially lacking fools like me, fresh out of college, easily dazzled by dreams. The grand promises he made to me kept me loyal for 7 years, through nights of vomiting from drinking, through round-the-clock proposal deadlines, even when competing companies dangled higher salaries to poach me. I rose from being an intern to becoming the company's general manager. As for how our romance began, it started with a one-night stand. 2 years ago at a drinking party, we both got wasted. Waking up, he said, "Chloe, I'll take responsibility for you." I don't remember exactly what state of mind I was in at the time, but I must have been happy. After all, by then I'd secretly been in love with him for 3 years. Falling for him came effortlessly. He had one of those faces that instantly captivates hearts. We'd once pulled all-nighters together working on proposals until New York dawn broke, lain sprawled on open ground beneath vast starry skies after client dinners, and weathered the same icy glares, disparagement, and obstacles side by side. Once, just to secure a project, we drank with clients until dawn. On the way back, we passed by Central Square in New York. He stopped the car, pulled me to lie down in the middle of the square, and with a hint of alcohol on his breath, said to me, "Chloe, one day, I'll move the company headquarters right here. $10,000 per square meter average in the prime location," he said. I scoffed, "Sober up, will you? We're all dead tired. Save the fantasies for your dreams." He suddenly turned his head and looked at me seriously, saying, "By the way, I'll buy you a penthouse here as a reward for sticking with me through thick and thin." When he looked at me, his eyes reflected the entire starry sky, his radiant smile almost blinding, yet his tone was so earnest. I think I completely fell for him at that very moment. On the night we got together, it was also the celebration party for the branch company's establishment. By then, he had already relocated the company building to Central Square, and as a reward, he gave me a penthouse there as well. The company grew from just 5 people to hundreds. At the celebration banquet, he put his arm around my shoulder in front of everyone and said, "Without Chloe, the company wouldn't have reached this scale, and there wouldn't be the me you see today. Come, this toast is for Chloe." There was some exaggeration in his words, but they weren't far from the truth. Through all those years when he felt like giving up, it was always me staying by his side to tough it out together. Even the establishment of branch offices was entirely my initiative. Fundraising, finding partners, including site selection, I handled everything. After the celebration banquet, he got overly excited and insisted on following me home to keep talking about the company's development plans for the next 20 years. The outcome was that we ended up talking in bed. When I woke up and he said he wanted to take responsibility, I felt anxious and hesitant. He noticed my hesitation and said, "Chloe, I've liked you for a long time. I can't find another girl like you who stayed with me this long." 2 years into our relationship, I learned he had an ex-girlfriend named Olivia. She was the same age as me, and she and Ethan had a college romance. She was Ethan's junior. They were each other's first love and dated for 3 years. After graduating from university, she left New York. Ethan wasn't willing to go with her, so they parted ways amicably. Come to think of it, the money Ethan initially used to start his company was actually intended as the down payment for a house to marry Olivia. This was something Ethan lamented when we first got drunk together, lying under the stars. He said, if I had married Olivia back then, I'd probably be living the 9-to-5 office life by now. There was a hint of regret in her tone, but it was also frank, so I never really paid attention to her existence. Even when Olivia suddenly returned to New York over a year ago and quietly followed me on Instagram, I merely followed her back without a second thought and didn't even mention it to Ethan. I thought Ethan and I were mutually in love, but really, who remembers a love from so long ago when you're an adult? Looking back now, I've been thoroughly proven wrong, for I'm someone who believes in seeing is believing. On the phone, I didn't confront Ethan directly. After hanging up, I even sent him our wedding photos. Ethan said, "My Chloe, you're so beautiful." I accepted his compliment and booked the earliest flight that same day to Los Angeles, where Ethan was on a business trip. After landing, while scrolling through Instagram again, I came across Olivia's update. Going to check out that viral restaurant. Coincidentally, I knew exactly which place she meant. I'd been there once with Ethan when we first started dating, a couple's restaurant. When I arrived by taxi, I witnessed Ethan presenting the restaurant's prepared red roses to Olivia. They were seated at the most conspicuous window table, visible at a glance without even stepping out of the car. Olivia wore a water blue evening gown while Ethan was dressed in matching water blue casual wear. Anyone with eyes could see it was a couple's outfit. Ethan used to say that matching couple outfits were the worst, childish. Now it seems it wasn't childishness he objected to. I just wasn't the person he wanted to be childish with. I got out of the car and leaned against a crooked neck tree by the roadside to call Ethan. Otherwise I might not have stayed upright. Ethan glanced at his phone but ultimately declined the call, texting back, "In a meeting." At this moment, it's difficult for me to describe my feelings, anger, sorrow, even a hint of desperation. I struggled to tilt my head up and gaze at the sky, just to hold back the tears that threatened to fall. It took me quite a while to calm the turmoil in my heart. Looking down at the wedding ring Ethan had given me not long ago, I took it off and tossed it into the nearby trash bin. Then, I snapped a photo of him dining with Olivia and sent it to him. "Let's talk about divorce after your meal." It took Ethan about 3 minutes to notice his phone because Olivia kept pestering him for selfies during that time. Those 3 minutes saw them striking 8 different poses, proudly showcasing their affair from every conceivable angle. Yes, Ethan and I had already registered our marriage last month. Only our wedding ceremony was scheduled 7 days later. After reading the message, Ethan finally turned his head in panic and saw me outside the window. In a hurried fluster, he got up and ran out the door towards me. Olivia didn't understand why at first, but when she saw him go out, she turned her head and noticed me too. A smug smile flickered across her face before she followed Ethan out as well. 5. Are you really determined to disgust me like this, Ethan? Over these years in the business world, whether it was sarcastic jabs or covert treachery, what haven't I endured? I accepted it all with a smile and handled it with effortless ease. I considered myself to have exceptional patience and self-restraint, but seeing my husband and his mistress standing before me in matching outfits, it took every ounce of my strength not to scream. Only then did Ethan notice Olivia had followed him outside. He turned his head. "Olivia, you go first." Olivia refused to leave and pretended to be innocent. "You must be Chloe. Ethan was just talking about you. Don't misunderstand. We just happened to run into each other here." I'd rather believe it was a misunderstanding, but when you fucking walked out pinching a rose petal between your fingers from that bouquet, were you trying to claim your territory? Are you that afraid I wouldn't notice you're up to something? I briefly closed my eyes, unwilling to speak with this homewrecker who has no sense of morality. I feared it might lower my own moral standards. I looked at Ethan and said, "You've got 1 minute to make this damned woman disappear from my sight." Olivia kept up her act. "Chloe, how can you speak like that? So uncouth, jumping to conclusions without even hearing our side." "Uncouth my ass." I laughed in extreme anger. "Indeed, I can't compare to a species like yours, hiding under rocks when humanity was evolving." "Olivia, me, if you've got nothing better to do with that mouth, go lick a toilet bowl instead of yapping here." Olivia's face turned greener than a traffic light before she finally left. After Olivia left, Ethan and I went back into the couple's restaurant we'd been at earlier. I was hungry. I didn't want to bother finding another place to eat. The score with that scumbag could be settled later, but my stomach needed looking after now. Over the years, drinking too much for the company has left me with stomach troubles. I can't go hungry. Whenever I do, my stomach aches. Ethan originally wanted to change places to eat, probably because he felt awkward too, but I didn't agree. This restaurant gives out red roses with meals. What a coincidence. The server who just handed Ethan a red rose is the same one now bringing him another rose. I distinctly saw her freeze in shock, her face clearly screaming, "How is this even possible?" Watching Ethan accept the red rose, I stuffed a forkful of food into my mouth and asked, "Do we even need this thing now?" Ethan. After a long silence, Ethan spoke. "Kuro." I interrupted him. "Don't talk about such disgusting things while I'm eating. I might vomit. Have some consideration for my stomach, which has been nearly ruined working myself to the bone for the company all these years." Ethan. A flicker of guilt crossed Ethan's face. The meal lasted 2 hours. During those 2 hours, my mind raced as I contemplated the divorce proceedings. I'm not crazy, and my mind isn't broken either. Forgive once, and there'll be a next time. While we still don't have children, we can make a clean break. Our financial entanglement is solely about the company. The parent company has nothing to do with me. I'm a shareholder in the subsidiary. We didn't sign a prenuptial agreement when we registered our marriage, but marriage laws won't allow me to take half of Ethan's assets just by virtue of a worthless marriage certificate. But I never expected that while I was considering divorce, Ethan was worrying about not disrupting our wedding 7 days later. He said, "Chloe, I don't want to divorce you." I was stunned and retorted, "Not divorce? So the three of us live together? For the wedding in 7 days, will you hold my hand with your left and Olivia's with your right?" I paused, then sneered, I truly feel that having even this shred of moral principle makes me utterly incompatible with immoral people like you." Ethan. After a long silence, I asked, "When did you two restart? Before we registered our marriage, or after?" After a long pause, Ethan finally said, "We didn't restart anything. If you didn't restart, then what are you two now? Adding some color to our lives, bringing in some fresh air?" Ethan actually has quite a temper. After I said this, he was somewhat angry, but ultimately held it back and said, "Chloe, you're angry right now. Let's calm down for 2 days before discussing this, okay?" I agreed. A couple of days to cool off would be good. We're both too agitated right now. I'm afraid I might forget what truly belongs to me in this rage and misjudge Ethan's share. 7. On the way to the hotel, Ethan kept trying to explain himself. But perhaps there was no explanation to give. He hesitated several times, words catching in his throat, and in the end, said nothing. At the hotel, he even tried to follow me into the same room. I looked at him. "Ethan, you've known me for 7 years, haven't you? Do you really think I'd use something someone else has already used?" The temper he'd been holding back since being caught cheating finally erupted. "Chloe, could you at least watch your words a little?" I laughed. "This is really no match for Olivia. She doesn't need to do anything for you, just give you a gentle smile, beckon you with a wave, and you'll follow her like a dog, even willing to compromise your moral for her. As for me, you know well enough, all these years fighting for the company's interests, what sharp words haven't I said?" "Ethan, I'm sorry, CLO." I slammed the door shut right in his face with a bang. The moment the door closed, tears I'd been holding back for hours finally fell. 7 years we'd walked together flashed through my mind like fleeting shadows. "When we first met," he said, "Chloe, we're destined to be the perfect partners. When we drank too much together," he said, "Chloe, someday we won't need to drink with anyone else anymore. When we first got together," he said, "Chloe, the most enduring romance is companionship. We'll be together for life. When we registered our marriage," he said, "Chloe, let's navigate the rest of our lives together." Now, he has shattered my 7 years of anticipation. Only when the tears fell did I belatedly realize the suffocating pain in my chest. It pulled at every nerve in my body, as if stripping me to the bone, draining me of all strength. Meanwhile, as I sobbed uncontrollably, Olivia sent me a private message on Instagram. Ethan never wanted to make our relationship public. Do you know under what circumstances I had to coax him into posting that update? 8. The thought of Ethan rolling in bed with Olivia even after we registered our marriage sent waves of acid churning in my stomach, nauseating. In the end, it made me sick to my stomach, so sick that I ended up in the hospital. My stomach trouble flared up again, coming all the way to Los Angeles only to land myself in the hospital. How unlucky can you get? But I never imagined things could get worse. After I was hospitalized, Ethan, probably out of guilt, insisted on staying by my side the entire time, even though I didn't want him there. He muted his phone, but the screen kept lighting up repeatedly, likely messages from Olivia sent via another phone. After all, ever since I came to Los Angeles, Ethan has stopped answering her calls and hasn't gone to see her. To prove his loyalty to me, he even deleted and blocked all of Olivia's contact information. So, on my 3rd day in the hospital, I received another desperate message from Olivia. "Chloe, I'm not trying to steal Ethan from you. All I want is to fulfill the travel promise we made when we were young with E before your wedding. Why did you have to show up?" If I really wanted to get back together with Ethan, do you think you'd even have a chance?" Seeing that I didn't respond to her, half an hour later, she sent another message. "Chloe, I never wanted to take Ethan from you. But from now on, I'll make sure you watch as I take him away from you, step by step. She wasn't just bluffing. A few minutes later, Ethan's phone lit up again. At that moment, Ethan happened to look down and caught a glimpse of the screen. His face visibly paled in an instant. Despite having stayed by my side these past few days, refusing to leave, he suddenly shot to his feet. I glanced at him, and he sat back down, saying, "Chloe, there's something urgent I need to handle. I'll be right back, okay?" I asked knowingly, "If I say no, then you won't go?" Ethan uttered an "I'm sorry" and ultimately left. 9. I checked out of the hospital at the fastest speed and returned to New York. In 3 short days, I've come to a complete realization. If someone can't be kept, let them go. If sand can't be held, simply scatter it to the wind. The moment I returned to New York, Ryan Song, the partner from the branch office, sought me out regarding work matters. Yes, the branch office has always been under my management. When I think about it carefully, Ethan reconciling with Olivia probably only happened because I was managing the branch office and staying there permanently, which meant I no longer frequently appeared by Ethan's side. But it doesn't matter anymore. The fact that they've reconciled now only proves they both had the intention to get back together. Even if I'd kept Ethan tethered to my belt, they would have inevitably found another opportunity to reunite. Ryan finished discussing work matters with me and casually remarked, "You really are a workaholic. With your wedding coming up soon, aren't you going to prepare for it?" I haven't announced the cancellation of the wedding with Ethan yet, but since it's going to be called off anyway, I casually mentioned it to Ryan in advance. "The wedding's cancelled." Ryan jerked his head up. "What happened? After all these years with Ethan, don't tell me you two broke up. What does years of companionship matter? It still can't compare to a first love's beckoning call." I didn't want to show too much emotion in front of Ryan. We're both partners in the business, and showing too much emotion could hinder the company's progress. I said, "I just saved you a congratulatory gift expense. Isn't that good?" Ryan seemed somewhat at a loss. He's never been good at comforting people after knowing him for over 4 years. I'm quite clear about that. His classic saying is, "A love-addled brain slows down money-making speed." When comforting girls heartbroken in love, he might directly say, "Love-addled? That's what you deserve." Looking at his somewhat flustered face, I added, "Don't just stand here affecting my work. If you've got time for gossip, go help your father's company discuss potential collaborations for the next project." After Ryan left, I had dinner with my parents and casually mentioned to cancel the wedding, asking them to inform all relatives who'd received invitations one by one. The two of them were filled with righteous indignation. My father rolled up his sleeves, itching to fly to Los Angeles right then and there to beat Ethan to death, while my mother was so furious she burst into tears. Thankfully, my parents truly loved me. Even though they knew canceling the wedding might make our family a laughingstock among relatives, they firmly insisted that divorce was the only way. Ethan returned to New York a day later, and I slapped the divorce papers right in front of him. But even then, Ethan stubbornly refused to agree to the divorce. He even tried to convince me to proceed with the wedding. He said, "Crow, the wedding is just 2 days away. If we cancel now, both our families will lose face. My parents are getting old." I cut him off. "Ethan, dignity is a precious thing. Don't treat it like an ass." "Ethan, I've already packed all your things and sent them back to your original villa. From now on, I hope you never step through this door again." I don't know what Ethan told his parents when he went back. That night, his mother called me and gave me a whole lecture. Seeing how firm I was, she said, "Chloe, even though Ethan was wrong in this matter, canceling the wedding at this critical moment is really too impulsive of you." She added, "Besides, if you divorce Ethan now, do you think you'll ever find someone better than him? Everything you have now, including the house you live in, was all given to you by Ethan, wasn't it?" I hadn't planned to snap back at her, but if she was asking for it, she couldn't blame me for my sharp tongue. I said, "Everything I have now, I earned through my own efforts. The success of the headquarters is the result of Ethan and me working together, and the branch office was practically built by my own hands. So, don't even try to gaslight me." I didn't give her a chance to interrupt and continued, "If you think infidelity can be forgiven and that divorcing over an affair is just being capricious, then I wish you all the best. Feel free to welcome your husband's mistress and her descendants into your home in the future." She was so enraged by my last remark that she started jumping up and down, cursing furiously, but I didn't wait to hear her finish. "After catching just one line, I never agreed to your marriage in the first place, and now you dare bring this kind of trouble to our family." I hung up immediately and blocked her number right after. The reason she opposed my marriage with Ethan was no mystery to me. I was too strong-willed, not obedient enough, and even dared to defy her. When the branch office was first established, she wanted to install her useless relatives as management there. Ethan couldn't bring himself to refuse her, so he pushed me forward instead. I outright rejected them all. So when Ethan and I were discussing marriage, she came to me privately to assert her dominance. She told me I must bear a son in the future. I subtly asked her, what if it's not a son? She replied rudely, then keep having children until it is a son. What use is a woman who can't even produce an heir? All daughters-in-law who suffer abuse from their mothers-in-law share one common flaw. From the very beginning, they lower their own status first. Even when others are already stepping all over you, you still try to treat her like your own mother. So, to nip her future intentions of controlling me in the bud, I bluntly replied, read more books. Don't embarrass yourself before you've even stepped into high society. She told me to quit my job once I got married and become a stay-at-home wife. Her reasoning? A woman always hustling outside might make people think she's up to something shady. Not to mention, she insinuated that I might end up in some drunken mess at work events and cheat on her son, tarnishing his reputation. I scoffed at her. Women in the old days only wore corsets, but you've managed to constrict your brains along with your waist. She complained to Ethan that I insulted her. I retorted to Ethan, would I be insane enough to insult my future mother-in-law before even entering the family? After hearing my response, Ethan pretty much understood the situation. That's why after we registered our marriage, we lived in my penthouse instead of with his mother. It's not that Ethan favored me, he simply didn't want to deal with the conflicts between me and his mother. Or perhaps, he knew perfectly well that even 10 of his mothers combined wouldn't be enough to withstand my scolding. Nor could they ever subdue someone like me. I thought Ethan and I could have a civilized divorce. We're all adults here, no need to tear each other apart. But it seems I overestimated Ethan, or rather, after all these years, I realize I never truly knew him at all. The day after I blocked his mother's number, he wanted me to leave with nothing, not even my shares in the subsidiary company. And as an added demand, he insisted I return the penthouse in Central Plaza that was rewarded to me for hitting sales targets. After stating his terms, he added over the phone, Chloe, as long as you don't go through with the divorce, tomorrow's wedding proceeds as planned, we can renegotiate all this. I knew exactly why he didn't want to dissolve our marriage. The company's stock would undoubtedly take a hit if we divorced, and he'd likely lose control of the subsidiary. After all, I'd single-handedly built that subsidiary from scratch. Beyond his initial investment, he'd contributed nothing to its growth. Moreover, we originally planned to establish a second branch office. I was still leading the charge. He didn't want to lose me as his right-hand assistant. But for Ethan to say such things, was he sleep-deprived, or did he think I was the one not awake? He even tried to brainwash me. Chloe, in this circle, so many people keep mistresses, some even lead separate lives after arranged business marriages. Don't others live just fine? I asked, are you suggesting I lower my moral standards and keep a young lover too? He remained silent. After a long pause, he said, I'll break things off with Olivia completely. The hypocrite. I doubt he can really cut ties with Olivia. He chose to abandon me for Olivia a few days ago because she threatened to kill herself. This suicidal threat was even romanticized by Olivia. The Instagram caption was beautifully written and utterly romantic. Missing you. I'll lose the ability to love anyone else. As the saying goes, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. But I blocked her without hesitation. Watching too much of this drama might turn me into an overdramatic person too. 11. Of course, the wedding didn't proceed as scheduled. Ethan only publicly announced, the wedding has been postponed. He refused to divorce through mutual agreement, so I hired a lawyer and filed for divorce in court. He only completely panicked after I filed the lawsuit. He lowered his stance again to approach me. Chloe, I was just momentarily confused. Olivia came to me wanting to get back together. I had a bit to drink, and that's why this ridiculous thing happened. I ignored him. After that, he would show up intermittently under my apartment, performing nauseating scenes of a prodigal son's return that made my scalp tingle. But ironically, perhaps because I had blocked Olivia, she could no longer report to me about her progress with Ethan and had to resort to other ways to disgust me. So once, when I was working late into the night and Ethan came to pick me up after work, I spotted a lipstick mark on his collar. He can't even play the role of a reformed prodigal son properly. What else is he good for? I pointed at the lipstick stain on his collar and asked, is this what you call cutting all ties with Olivia? Ethan, let's part on good terms. Don't come back to disgust me. You know I never revisit past relationships. For the next 2 weeks, Ethan finally stayed quiet, probably off fighting with Olivia. A few days later, I received a message from Olivia. Chloe, why don't you just die? I calmly retorted with sarcasm, what's wrong? Did playing the suicidal card stop working? Probably because she failed to push Ethan into divorcing me. She even sought me out, asking to meet at the cafe below our office building, claiming she had something very important to tell me. I originally didn't want to see her, but upon second thought, I figured I might as well witness the diversity of species firsthand. I agreed to meet. She came to crush my heart. Ethan said he got back together with Olivia because he was drunk, that Olivia was the one who came on to him. But the truth is, over a year ago, the reason Olivia returned to New York was because Ethan brought her back. Over a year ago, Ethan went on a business trip to her city, and it was actually Ethan who sought her out first. Do you know what Ethan said when he first reached out to me? She asked herself and answered. Ethan said that not marrying me back then was the biggest regret of his life. If time could be rewound, he would rather forsake his current wealth than lose me, to be with me, to marry me. She smiled triumphantly. A game of money had been forcefully twisted by her into a game of love. I was already in a foul mood, and the thought of Ethan having betrayed me for over a year made it worse. Unable to stand her smile, I shot back with 3 questions. Has Ethan married you now? If Ethan really loves you, why did he register a marriage with me? If what you have is truly love, why hasn't Ethan been willing to divorce me until now? The smile vanished from her face at my question. I continued my own soliloquy. You're after his money. He's after whatever lingering novelty he still feels for you, or maybe just the thrill of the unattainable. This pathetic affair, filthy transaction you dare call love, even a dog would spit in disgust. Olivia grew hysterical under my verbal assault. Chloe, why can't you just let Ethan go? I glared at her. I've never seen an adulteress as shamelessly self-righteous as you. Don't provoke me again, or I'll ruin your reputation completely. Still feeling unsatisfied, I decided to twist the knife. Oh, and let's be clear, it's Ethan who's decided you're worthless baggage holding him back. He's the one crawling back to me, not the other way around. If you're actually good for anything, hurry up and make him divorce me. Every day we stay married is another day I feel sick to my stomach. Olivia's face instantly turned deathly pale. A useless woman who lives reliant on men. But in order to divorce Ethan more quickly, I was willing to offer her a shortcut. I said, instead of wasting time getting angry here, you'd better think about how to please your future mother-in-law. 12. Just after confronting Olivia, I happened to run into Ryan outside. I have no idea how much Ryan had overheard, but he looked utterly dismayed and said, "How can you put up with this? Just go slap her twice and teach her a lesson about reality." I rolled my eyes at Ryan. I don't want to end up in the police station. Things would escalate and damage the company's reputation. Ryan nodded thoughtfully. Fair point. I do have shares in the company. Can't let this go too far. Ryan insisted on dragging me to lunch together, but it was really for gossip. He even pulled out his company shareholder card, saying, "I think I have the right to know. You're the decision maker here. If things between you and Ethan don't end well, I should cut my losses and pull out early." He added, "You know, I only invested because I saw you as a workaholic who'd definitely turn a profit. My dad even warned me not to be stupid enough to get scammed and tried to talk me out of it." Yeah, Ryan is a rich kid, dead set on making it on his own without relying on his dad's fortune. What he said was true. Back then, to get Lahane invested, I had to share 3 rounds of drinks with him before finally sealing the deal. It's been over a month now, and I really haven't told anyone about Ethan and Olivia. Keeping it bottled up was eating at me, so I ended up unloading everything to Ryan, even down to Ethan's remark about how many sugar daddies there are in this industry. Ryan listened, and sure enough, came the familiar line, "Love-struck fools dig their own graves." What Ethan did, he clearly abandoned all humanity, didn't he? Isn't it obvious? If Ethan still planned to behave like a human being, he would have let me go and divorced me long ago. He definitely wouldn't have dared to pressure me into compromising, knowing full well we were on equal footing, much less spout that ridiculous nonsense about making me leave with nothing. Seeing my low spirits, Ryan added, "Don't let him gaslight you. So what about this industry? There are scumbags here, but there are good men too." 13. Because of my fallout with Ethan, even though neither of us publicly disclosed the reason the wedding didn't go ahead as planned, the company couldn't avoid being affected. In just over a month, contracts with partnering firms for 3 projects at headquarters expired, and the renewals fell through. Since I was the one who initially negotiated those partnerships, they were wary of the company's future instability after our split. Businessmen are all shrewd. So, Ethan came to see me again. His first words were accusatory. "Chloe, even if we're getting divorced, there's no need for you to sabotage the company. The company was once your hard work too." Not only did I genuinely not sabotage the company, but he seemed to have forgotten that just over a month ago, he wanted me to leave empty-handed. And besides, what does the profit and loss of the parent company have to do with me? I looked at him like he was an idiot. "Have you been spending too much time with your dog? Picking up its habits, barking at everyone you see?" Having known me for 7 years, Ethan had some understanding of my temperament. Seeing me scold him with such righteous indignation, he realized I hadn't deliberately set him up. Only then did he say, "Chloe, I'm sorry." Then he rambled on endlessly, apologies, sweet talk, all with one sole purpose, to get me to step in and renegotiate the renewal contracts for several major collaborations with the headquarters. I slammed the divorce papers in front of him once again. "Sign this. Once we're divorced and you stop revolting me, I might consider it, possibly. Ethan probably knew my personality well. I hold grudges like a hawk. If we really got divorced, forget about helping him negotiate deals. It'd be a miracle if I didn't start my own company just to steal his clients. So, he refused again, but I know it won't be long before he comes to me for divorce himself. At most 1 month. Because I received another message from Olivia, still in that provocative tone. Chloe, your gloating won't last much longer. I'll make sure Ethan divorces you. Her confidence comes from good reason. She's pregnant and plans to leverage the child for status. She's really quick on the uptake, already buttering up Ethan's mother. Her willingness to grovel before Ethan's mother, letting the old woman play Empress Dowager to her heart's content, already makes her infinitely better than me, the queen of sharp tongues and stubborn defiance. Now that she's pregnant, Ethan's mother is even happier and has already taken her side. Thank her, she finally did one good thing. Just as expected, within merely half a month, Ethan took the initiative to discuss divorce with me, but shamelessly, he still wanted me to walk away without a penny. He said, Chloe, you're the one insisting on divorce. Unless you leave with nothing, I won't agree to it. The only compensation I can offer is letting you keep the penthouse in Central Plaza that I gifted you before. He was also very considerate of me. You want to make a clean break with me too, don't you? If you don't give up your shares in the subsidiary, we'll have to remain entangled anyway, won't we? I gazed at Ethan, who sat before me with a cold expression as he laid out his terms. In that moment, all my past love for him vanished without a trace. I really never understood him at all. Once again, I looked at him with eyes reserved for idiots. Before coming to find me, did a donkey kick you in the head? His face showed suppressed anger. Chloe, me, no donkey kicked you, so why are you talking like one just took a swipe at your brain? He was about to lose his temper, but I preempted him. Ethan, from the moment I found out you cheated until now, have I ever spoken a word against you in the media or publicly exposed your affair? Do you think if I wanted mutual destruction, dragging both our reputations across the Atlantic, and leaked your cheating scandal to the press, how many of those contracts I signed with headquarters would be affected? Ethan, I lashed out. Who do you think you are, cheating and still daring to demand I walk away with nothing? The more I spoke, the angrier I got, so I might as well drop the gloves. Let's part ways peacefully. If you don't want that, we can do it the messy way. Tomorrow, I'll have the media announce you're cheating, how you got your mistress pregnant, and now you're trying to make your wife, who built everything with you from scratch, walk away with nothing. Since neither of you cares about saving face anymore, I'm happy to join you in this disgrace. Ethan looked somewhat surprised, probably thinking I didn't know about Olivia's pregnancy yet. If it weren't for the divorce proceedings dragging on for so long, with Ethan constantly delaying, I wouldn't even have wanted to see him. Disgusting bastard. Divorce really reveals a person's true character. God damn it. 15. After a grueling month of extreme back and forth, the divorce was finally finalized. After our divorce, I remained stationed at the subsidiary company. He was probably afraid I'd find a way to oust him from the subsidiary or take some action against him. He implemented a major overhaul of the subsidiary, even forcibly inserting people his mother had tried to place before, people I'd rejected, just to hassle me and mess with my head, or perhaps to keep tabs on me. Still not satisfied after all this, he outright proposed buying out my shares in the subsidiary. As it happened, I was ready to sell. Not wanting any further ties with him was secondary. Mainly, with his approach, the company would be on a downward spiral before long. He dug his own grave, and I don't want to be dragged down with him. Besides, Ethan and I were originally preparing to establish a second branch company. Now, I want to strike out on my own. So I seized the opportunity to raise my price, demanding 3 times the market rate. Ethan bargained with me several times over my exorbitant demand, but ultimately gritted his teeth and accepted. I didn't do much, just secretly had someone analyze Olivia's situation. If Ethan and I continued interacting after divorce due to company matters, she might eventually become like a speck of mosquito blood on the wall, while I'd reclaim the position of his cherished white moonlight. After all, what's lost or unattainable always smells sweetest. She herself was a living cautionary tale. Moreover, the child in her womb, whose gender was checked by Ethan's mother, turned out to be a son. Olivia kept using this son to pick fights with Ethan daily. Every time I meet Ethan for work, she throws a tantrum. One time, she even quarreled with Ethan in the office, yelling at him, "If you really don't want to be involved with Chloe anymore, why can't you cut ties completely? Are you planning to treat me the same way you treated Chloe, marry me and then keep seeing her on the side?" Ethan snapped back, "I've already married you. Can't you stop making unreasonable scenes?" Olivia countered with sound logic, "But that's exactly what you did before, isn't it?" TSK, as expected of the home-wrecking mistress, her vigilance is way sharper than mine, and because she got too worked up, she agitated the womb and ended up hospitalized. Ethan had no choice but to accept my raised price, all for the sake of the child in her belly. So, 3 months after the divorce, I withdrew from the branch company with the money in hand. 16. After withdrawing from the branch company, I was so busy preparing to establish my own firm that I simply had no time to pay attention to Ethan and Olivia. But I never expected that 3 months after my withdrawal, Ryan also divested his shares from the branch company. He came to me and said, "I heard you're planning to go solo. Count me in." I asked, "Why walk away from easy money? Why withdraw?" The branch company has been managed quite well by me over the past 2 years. At the very least, all the money those shareholders invested has been recovered within this period. Isn't this the perfect time to continue enjoying the dividends? Ryan chuckled. "If we don't pull out now, are we supposed to lose money together when the company starts operating at a loss?" Me? ? Ryan, do you know why I never partner with love-struck romantics or bleeding heart do-gooders in business? Because with these two types as partners, the company will inevitably turn into a family business, stuffed full of useless, headache-inducing royal relatives. Damn, I thought Ethan was just trying to screw with me, forcing me to sell my shares and abandon the company by stuffing it full of his good-for-nothing, high-maintenance relatives. Turns out, the guy's actually lost his mind. He even brought in Olivia's relatives and pushed out several managers I originally trained. Well, those two are real saints to me. I was just feeling guilty about not being able to take my old team with me, thanks to my pesky moral compass, and here they are handing them right over. 2 months later, my new company officially opened for business. On the first official business night of the company, several shareholders had dinner with the management. Not only did Ryan insist on joining as an investor himself, but he also brought along his 3 wealthy second-generation buddies. During the meal, he gestured toward his 3 friends with his chin, clinked his wine glass against my teacup, and said, "Chloe, look, these are all the good men I've picked for you, all single, the younger brother type, can be sweet or wild. Keep your friends close and your opportunities closer, you know?" The corner of my mouth twitched as I shot him a glare. He added, "No need to thank me. But if you insist, just work hard so I can earn more money while lounging at home." Me? I really appreciate it. It's touching that a money-grubbing capitalist like you took time out to care about my love life. He replied matter-of-factly, "Damn right. You're my cash cow now. Remember, as long as you've got money, your next boyfriend is still in kindergarten." He patted my shoulder again. "Stay away from cheaters and homewreckers, and life gets 50% better. Cheers to the wonderful life coming your way." Me? 17. Ryan's right. Stay away from cheaters and homewreckers, and life gets 50% better. For example, 2 years later, I happily walked out of Central Plaza after finalizing a cooperation deal, just in time to see Olivia arguing unhappily with Ethan. Watching drama unfold is my kind of entertainment. If buying popcorn at this moment wouldn't make me miss the show, I'd have grabbed 2 buckets to enjoy the spectacle while munching. I stopped to listen for a while and managed to piece together what was going on. After Olivia's relative joined the company, they abused their authority position to embezzle funds, and a substantial sum at that. Ethan didn't know about it at first because her relative had planned to use the next project to cover up his embezzlement, but that project fell through. Someone else snatched it away. When Olivia's relative failed to cover up the embezzled money, the whole scheme came to light. Ethan pursued the funds, but they had already been gambled away by Olivia's relative. So Ethan sued Olivia's relative. Now, that relative of Olivia's is behind bars, and that relative was none other than Olivia's flesh and blood, her own maternal uncle. Otherwise, Olivia wouldn't have dared to publicly confront Ethan with scathing insults. When it came to ruthlessness, no one could surpass Ethan. So now, Olivia was berating him, calling him heartless and inhuman. "Ethan, Olivia, have I been too lenient with you? When you schemed relentlessly, even deceiving me and my mother to force marriage, why didn't you call me heartless and inhuman then? Since I'm heartless and inhuman, let's divorce. Get as far away from me as you can." Olivia. Ethan had issued a harsh ultimatum, leaving Olivia too intimidated to speak. Indeed, she'd gone through considerable effort to push me aside and claim the title of Mrs. Hayes. If they divorced so easily, who would foot her extravagant bills? If Ethan was ruthless enough to try stripping me of everything back then, he certainly wouldn't go easy on her either. She lacks the leverage I once had. Turning to Ryan, who'd accompanied me for the project discussion, I asked, "Who snatched the deal? I'll go pay them a visit with a gift. Today I'll be talking with Ryan's father. Having Ryan present will make things much easier, as his father will be more accommodating for his sake. That's why I brought him along." "Ryan, wasn't it you? The deal where Mr. Wong came to see you personally last month. These past 2 years, since many of Ethan Corp's previous collaborations were negotiated by me, I haven't held back from poaching his clients after going solo. This is my retaliation for Ethan not just betraying me back then, but also forcing me out of the company. On top of that, Ethan replaced many management staff I had personally trained. So when contracts for many of his company's previous cooperative projects expired, my team's management successfully poached them away. Too much, can't remember it all. I awkwardly responded, well then, today I'll go buy myself a gift. Ryan took advantage of the situation to extort me too. Remember to bring me a portion. I originally had plans to go out with my future girlfriend today. Since you dragged me back to work, there'd better be some compensation, right? I chuckled. I just happened to help you dodge an unwanted family blind date you didn't want to attend. And now you're trying to use that against me? Look at you, so clever. Ryan, 18. Life never freezes at a single frame and calls it quits. It's an ongoing series. If you've been following along, not a month later, I caught a cold and went to the hospital, where I witnessed another explosive scene between Olivia and Ethan's mother. Ethan had previously called Olivia a scheming woman who fooled both him and his mother, and that was true. More than a year ago, Olivia gave birth to a baby girl. Ethan's mother cursed with even more venom than Ethan did, throwing the cruelest words she could think of. Ethan's mother was furious. You can't even bear a son, what good are you? Get rid of that worthless thing in your belly right now. Damn, so she's pregnant again and here to check the baby's gender. Olivia had probably swallowed enough grievances during this period and finally couldn't hold back anymore. She fired back. You call your own daughter worthless, but aren't you a woman yourself? Who the hell are you calling names, you old hag? Ethan's mother immediately started a screaming match with her. I'm calling you a worthless little slut, you jinx. If it weren't for you, my son wouldn't have divorced Chloe to marry a criminal's niece like you. Tell your family to return all the embezzled money your uncle stole immediately, or you'll regret it. Olivia was no pushover either, cutting straight to the point. If you didn't want to be the emperor's grandmother, would you have so readily agreed to Ethan divorcing Chloe to marry me? You just couldn't win an argument against Chloe, that's all. Me. Thanks, I appreciate you both. 3 sentences into the argument, Ethan's mother resorted to physical violence. With a loud smack, she slapped Olivia across the face, so hard that 5 finger marks immediately appeared on Olivia's cheek. Then she grabbed Olivia's hair, yanking it while continuing to scream, "How dare a little bitch talk back to me? I'll beat you to death today." A shiver ran down my spine out of sheer reflex. Then, I took out my phone, snapped pictures, and immediately called the police for them. My assistant is still the same sweetheart as before. She left Ethan's branch office and came back to work for me. She knew all about the tangled love-hate history between Ethan and me. Staring at my actions in shock, she asked, "Chloe, when this is such perfect entertainment and sweet revenge, you actually called the police?" Me, no need to thank me, just call me enthusiastic citizen. Assistant, well thank you so much, enthusiastic citizen. I even had my sunflower seeds ready, and you had to interrupt. Right across from the hospital was the police station. In less than 5 minutes, the police arrived. They took both men away. After they were let off, the assistant sighed. Good thing you broke up with CEO Ethan back then, otherwise, today's beating wouldn't have fallen upon me. The reason Ethan's mother dared lay hands on Olivia was twofold. First, Olivia had been trying to please her from the very start, which gave her mother-in-law an inflated sense of superiority. Second, Olivia herself lacked the backbone to divorce Ethan or openly defy his mother. Just look at how she didn't even dare fight back when being attacked. The next day, a gossip reporter in New York, desperate for a juicy story, published the incident, complete with high-definition photos capturing exactly how much hair Ethan's mother had ripped from Olivia's scalp, courtesy of moi. Thus, Ethan's mother became notorious nationwide for beating her daughter-in-law, simply because the pregnancy test revealed it was a girl, right into a police station. I'd warned her before, don't disgrace yourself before even stepping into high society. But would she listen? Of course not. I'd become the laughingstock of the century. As soon as this gossip broke out, some enthusiastic media friends dug up those old rumors about Olivia knowingly being the other woman and forcing me to step aside, posting them alongside the current scandal to ride the wave. The entire internet is calling Olivia deservedly humiliated, with both Olivia and Ethan thoroughly disgraced. After finishing their verbal assault on Olivia and Ethan, these passionate netizens virtually congratulated me. Congratulations to Sister Chloe for escaping that dumpster fire back then. Me, thanks folks, I never wanted you laughing at my expense in the first place. And now after 2+ years you've circled back around just to have your laughs anyway. 19. Just as misfortunes never come singly, another 2 months passed. While Ethan's household was in utter chaos, trouble also arose within his company. His branch office had been falsifying accounts and evading taxes, which led to tax audits after being reported. The moment I learned Ethan had replaced the management team I'd previously trained with his mother and Olivia's relatives, I knew he was digging his own grave. His branch office was about to go downhill, especially since I kept stealing business deals from him whenever possible. But I never expected trouble to come so soon. After hearing the news, Ryan patted his chest and said, "Thank goodness I had the foresight to pull out." Ever since he replaced the company's finance director with his mother's niece, I knew she was up to no good. Half-heartedly, I complimented him. What a genius you are. With equal insincerity, Ryan returned the compliment, right back at you. But neither of us mentioned the whistleblower, pretending it had nothing to do with ourselves. After this incident, Ethan's branch collapsed at the speed of a falling building. The parent company was also implicated by the branch, losing countless deals. It allowed me to snatch several more of his clients, earning a tidy sum. Even though Ethan fought tooth and nail to salvage the situation, expelling his mother and Olivia's entire family from the company, and even donating $5 million to impoverished areas to restore his reputation, it was all in vain. The internet mocked him for grandstanding, and some keyboard warriors even outright asked, "Is this money siphoned from tax evasion?" Ethan's parent company was also starting to decline. Suddenly, I remembered many years ago when I first accompanied Ethan in his entrepreneurial venture. The company had weathered a crisis then too. The funding chain had broken. Ethan was ready to give up and just go back to finding a job, but I stuck with him, begging for help everywhere we went. During that time, we were either pleading with someone or on our way to plead with someone else. I stood by him while he endured endless disdainful looks from others. After we pulled through that difficult period, he told me, "Klaus, thank goodness for you. As long as I have a mouthful of porridge, I swear you'll never go hungry." But later, when he became successful, not only did he forget what he'd once said, he even tried to take what was rightfully mine. Some people can only share hardship, not joy. Ethan is one of those people. But that's fine. He and Olivia have already shared the good times. Now it's time to endure hardship together and deepen their bond. After all, didn't Ethan tell Olivia before that he would rather give up his wealth than lose her, that he wanted to marry her? Although his company is now starting to decline, he's slowly fulfilling the promise he once made to Olivia. This time, he's proven himself a real man. Where there's a vow, it must be honored. I've already made up my mind. If both of them come pleading to me, then considering their love is stronger than gold, I might reluctantly agree and cut back on snatching Hayes Group's business in the future. But it seems Olivia doesn't intend to weather hardship with Ethan. In less than half a year, the two were filing for divorce. Olivia told everyone that the reason they couldn't stay together was because of her evil mother-in-law, who forced her to abort their second child. The real reason was that Ethan's company was on the verge of collapse, and Olivia didn't want to be left with nothing, let alone share Ethan's debts. And right in the middle of their divorce battle, Olivia cheated on Ethan and hooked up with an older man who was richer than present-day Ethan. I stared at the freshly served gossip, completely stunned. Well, all I can say is, history loves a comeback. That makes perfect sense. They'd been called a money game from the start, yet they insisted on dressing it up as love. Olivia was initially drawn to Ethan for his wealth. Since it was about money all along, it's completely logical that she'd choose someone richer than Ethan while she's still young and beautiful. No flaws in her logic. Hope Ethan's doing okay. 2020, but alas, things didn't go as hoped. Ethan's not okay. 3 months after Olivia cheated on him, his company truly couldn't hold on any longer and had to declare bankruptcy. At this point, I couldn't help but admire Ethan. Even though Olivia cheated on him, he still endured it and didn't divorce her. Because after they got married, they bought 2 properties under both their names. Divorce would mean giving up one of them. Thus, after the bankruptcy liquidation was completed, the nearly $50 million in debt he carried included Olivia's share. And that wealthy old man immediately dumped Olivia, having no intention of playing the fool and helping her pay off the debt. As I read the news, I mentally sent them a message from afar. Cheating scumbags deserve each other. Stay together forever. Rumor has it that, in the end, Ethan sold his apartment near Central Plaza, the 2 villas purchased under both their names, and several luxury cars under their ownership to repay the debts. Stripped of everything, he returned to square one, not just similar to when he first started his business, but exactly the same. Ethan returned my call an hour later, but by then, I no longer cared. His downfall wasn't my doing. If he hadn't filled the company's management with his mother and Olivia's utterly mediocre and crooked relatives, even if I'd snatched a few deals from him, he wouldn't have collapsed. Epilogue. I thought I'd never see Ethan again in this lifetime. Life had other plans. When Ryan got married, I attended his wedding banquet, and there Ethan was. Ethan worked as a junior manager at the hotel where Ryan held his wedding banquet. It seems I no longer have the courage of my entrepreneurial days. I don't know how others feel when they meet their ex-husbands again, but looking at Ethan now, even in a well-tailored suit, his exhaustion still showing, I felt utterly unmoved. It was like meeting a strange man, neither loved nor hated. Ethan looked at me for a long time, then stepped forward and said, "Chloe, I'm sorry about what happened back then." I smiled at him. No need to apologize. I was being petty back then, failing to offer you both my blessings. Let me make up for it now. May you and Olivia have a long and happy marriage, growing old together. Ethan's face turned slightly green. His head seemed to have acquired a greenish hue as well. Still, he got exactly what he wished for. I added salt to the wound, Now you've made up for missing out on the 9-to-5 office worker life when you didn't marry Olivia back then. No regrets left. Ethan, the end.